This is, excuse me, I'm Harriet Davis, Chairman of the Wenham Historic District Commission. We're opening the meeting of February 15th, 2023 on Zoom. It is being recorded and all votes will be by roll call. So to start, is there any public comment? Joe, do you see anybody?
There is no public comment, Madam Chair.
Okay, then let's just take a quick look at the December 15 minutes. This is the one where Maria and her husband came and showed us the windows they found, if you remember. So could I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes of December 15th, 2022?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Oh, Mary. Thank you. Is there any additions or corrections?
None.
If not, all those in favor of accepting these minutes, raise your hand. Kirsten, Mary, Kelly, and myself. Thank you. Okay, so moving right along, we have an application this evening from Tim Fazio of the Hamilton Wenham Little League. So, Tim, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Harriet. And thanks everybody for making this meeting on such short notice. I really appreciate it. I think what Joe is doing is going to show you the presentation that we had circulated and the one that we had previously presented before the select board in Wenham. And it gives you an idea of where we propose putting these scoreboards. And as I think I mentioned, I was able to get out there and stake the basic areas. And if anyone was able to go out and take a look, that might give some more helpful reference. As I said, the precise location is very flexible, whether it needs to be moved in or out, back or forth, not really a problem. We want to make sure it is in the best aesthetic place for the park and for the utility of using them at the fields. So Joe, if you don't mind scrolling down, we can just take a quick look at Black Field first. So the scoreboard, and we could probably go right to the picture. As you probably all know, and you can feel free to ask me any questions. We actually did a great thing converting Black Field to more of a formal softball field for our girls, to give them a more central location in town. And now Pingree Park is sort of this, for the baseball, softball season, this excellent spot where we have softball and Babe Ruth level, high school level in the middle field, and then the Little League in the far field, all with all of the amenities there with bathrooms and batting cages, etc. So you can see that the scoreboard is almost identical to the one that is already installed at Cheeseman. You see the dimensions, just 9 feet wide, 13 feet tall. It's only a couple feet deep, if anybody's wondering. This scoreboard is new technology. It is entirely solar powered. So there's no need to dig any trenches, run any electricity, doesn't cost the town anything for electric. And the placement would be roughly in that area as you see. Now, I'm sure that picture is not to scale, but that is, the general vicinity. It'll be tilted a little bit towards the field so that folks from the field can see it. That's pretty much it. But I can move on to the placement of the one at the Babe Ruth field, unless anybody has any questions about this one.
I do. So I'm not sure. So the one that you have now, that one is at the field closest to the library?
Yes, the current scoreboard that's there, and that's been there since before my time, is at the field that's closest to the library on the right field side. So this corner of the outfield that's closest to the street there.
So that's just being replaced with this new one, right?
No, that
that's
one's staying. That one, that's just an example. That's one that's already been
Oh,
up.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
This
sorry.
is, that's okay. This is the field that is closest to 1A. The one that you're looking at right now is the one that's closest to
Oh, okay.
1A.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. So that will be over by the sort of closer towards the children's play area.
That's correct. Yes.
Oh, fine. Yep.
Yeah. So
got it.
it's pretty far set back from Main Street and from the access road.
Got it.
Any other
May I ask
questions?
something?
Of
Sure,
course.
go ahead, Mary.
It says it's tucked into the tree line. That doesn't look very tucked.
Well,
Or is this just a rendering?
this is
No, wait, the
just
tree line comes out.
What?
The tree line sort of comes out over there a little bit. So it is back.
Yeah, so it is to be placed pretty close to the, I mean, it can't be within the trees, but it will be very close to the line of the trees, you know, within a matter of feet. And again, the precise placement, you know, we can look at and make it in the most optimal spot. But yes, the design is to be pretty close to the tree line there. And it's all, and it's past any, so if anybody has any concerns, it is not in a location that interferes at all or comes even close to any of the soccer fields or the main fields that are used in other, you know, non-baseball seasons.
That's good.
Is there any way to put it closer to that first building?
Can you scroll back down, please? Thanks, Joe. To put it closer to the dugout,
Yeah,
there, I mean, the answer to that is yes, it could be closer. I think the issues become one of utility and also aesthetic. If it's closer to the dugout, then it's closer to Main Street, right? And it then becomes more difficult for people in that dugout and on that sideline watching a game to see it, because
Oh, okay.
the angle of the dugout cuts that off, and then it becomes really behind the folks that are watching as opposed to just a turn to the side of the head. So ideally for scoreboards, you try to get them closer to the outfield fence line. But it's not, but again, it's not the end of the world to move it in a little bit if needed. So it's one of those things that we can, and a site visit may be the most helpful, but we can take a look and see, you know, where, but ideally it would be back closer to the outfield fence line.
Sounds good.
Does anybody have any questions on this one?
Nope.
No? Okay, great. Joe, if you could scroll down to the other one. So this is the Babe Ruth field. This is the larger baseball diamond in the middle. And it's the same scoreboard. It is exactly the same dimensions, solar powered. This one is, as you can tell, it's much further away from things because the outfield is significantly deeper at this size diamond. So this rendering is definitely not to scale. That's way bigger than it would appear. But it is back in that general vicinity. So there is currently a foul pole that is there all the time. It would be to the right of the foul pole. So this picture should probably be moved to the right a little bit. At least that's what I think is going to be the most ideal spot, sort of in foul territory. And it's under the big pine trees that are closer there, obviously in a spot that makes sure that it can get enough sun to get powered and isn't in danger of, you know, regular branches falling on it. But it's very far set back, and right as far as perspective, directly behind it, obviously past the trees, would be the tennis courts. So that's kind of where that is. And again, it's in a location that does not interfere with any of the other recreational aspects of the field.
Any questions from the commission?
I think it is important to do a site visit, don't you?
I think when we're coming to the potential vote, we can put that in such a way. Mary, do you have a concern with this one?
Well, I'd like to see exactly where it is. Of course, I had a call from my neighbor 2 houses over who just was really upset about the whole thing and said it's going to affect values of our homes and it's ugly and it's this and that. And so I just would like to see where it's going to go.
I'm fine with it. I'm in that field, usually that area twice a day because of my dog. So I'm fine with the positions.
Well, yeah, walking the dog is one thing, but having to look out your backyard like this guy might is another, but I guess he's not going to be able to do much about it.
Well, it's for the community, I think, for the kids in the community. I'm sorry to offend that person, but there's a lot of great baseball players out there.
What I'm thinking of is framing the motion to accept this plan subject to a site visit, within, where are we now? Within 10 days, 5 days? Tim, what do you think?
Sure. And I'm sorry I had to go off camera. My internet is not stable. But
That's
I'm
all right.
Yes, and I'm happy to do that whenever and however you want to structure it. If everybody is okay with them going in general, we can also have folks present at the install to make sure that they're in the right spot. I do understand it's hard. These are big structures. We can't just sort of move them around and see what they look like.
Mhm.
But yes, I'm happy to do a site visit anytime you want. I just and I'm happy to have folks come out when we're doing the actual install to be doubly sure. It's one of those things where, as you all can appreciate, it does take some time and effort to make sure that we coordinate the different people coming to do it. And,
Right.
you know, I want to just make sure that I can give you guys that lead time and I can give the folks doing it that lead time. So we're all on the same page.
Right. Recording secretary, Catherine,
Yes,
what I'm considering, tell me if you think this passed muster, that we would frame the motion to accept in principle the application subject to a successful site visit within 10 days.
I would like you to have successful site visit on the record, though. There'll be no record of a successful site visit.
So we would, let's see, how would you suggest we handle that? Do we pick a date?
You can hold, I mean, I just think you're basing it, what if you don't like it? How are we going to retract this motion?
I
Yeah,
see.
she's
But
right about
no, what I'm saying is, my idea is that we accept the proposal of the installation of these 2 scoreboards. Only the placement of the second one is up for discussion.
I think we should just check the placement of both of them. May I ask a question?
Sure.
How come after all these years, suddenly scoreboards are a necessity? Just asking, I'm being the devil's advocate here.
Sure. And I think to your point, are they a necessity? No, they're not a necessity, but are they something that adds value, adds enjoyment, adds utility to being able to, for the spectators, let alone the participants? I think that's the reality of it. Most people that play and or watch any sport value having scoreboards. And I think it makes the aesthetic of the fields that much more enhanced as well. And our entire board and all of the folks that we went to fundraise with agreed, and now happen to be a good economic time to get these fundraisings. We had some fantastic sponsors, and we had some fantastic local businesses that are willing to do all of the labor on these for free. So it made them incredibly affordable. And the timing was just right. So that's why, and the technology is better too, frankly. I mean, the fact that there's solar power is huge, that we don't have to dig things up, add electrical wires that are under the ground. It's really a tremendous opportunity.
So in principle, we need to approve the installation of these 2 scoreboards, but we have to figure out how to handle the placement of the second one. Anybody else have any suggestions?
I think we
Kristen?
should be able to look at the placement of the first one too, if we're going to do a site visit.
So my thought was, I mean, what we see here is any houses around
Oh, hi, Lisa.
trying to minimize the gutters would be. And I don't know if that's, Tim, maybe you know kind of where houses are here, and I mean, we could also be planting things to block that view, potentially.
So Kirsten, I'm sorry, but I did not hear everything that you said.
I
think
didn't hear it either.
when the other caller came in, I didn't hear the beginning of what you said.
So I'm just thinking about what we can't see here is the abutter view. Lisa, can you mute?
The abutter of what?
The abutter to the field. So Mary, you said that there were neighbors that were concerned about seeing this from their property.
Right, not to mention me. I don't think I can see it straight on though, but I
Right.
live right
So-
next door.
So I think what I can't tell from this is what a neighbor would see. Are the trees blocking it or not? Can they be placed in a way that is less obtrusive to someone?
So
Sure.
that's why I think a site visit is good.
So I think that's a great idea, and I think we should do a site visit. I mean, from the reality is that anybody on the trees side won't be able to see these things. I mean, barely at all in the winter when the leaves are down, and when the leaves are up, everything back there is blocked. From the other side, it's quite a distance. It is, it's the entire other side of the park, and the trees that are on the park being able to look through. So like I said, totally flexible with precise placement to sort of optimize everything for folks. I personally don't think that the site will be anything intrusive to folks that are around it. But I think that a site visit might alleviate that, and happy to take folks down there, as soon as possible so that they can see for themselves.
So Harriet, can we make that a public meeting on site?
Yes, we can. If it be posted, we can do that. But then we'd have to get 4 people to show up in order to take a vote at that point. If we have just an informal site visit, doesn't have to be posted really, although it's not a bad idea to post it, but take no votes, just not discuss it. I think it's better to have it as a posted meeting. Thank you. In this
Right.
day and age. Joe, did you have
Because-
something to say?
Yes, that would be my suggestion, especially if there's going to be a quorum present. I highly recommend just posting an agenda. I think it's a good rule of thumb.
So,
I feel a little bit, I'm gonna be honest, I feel a little bit like these are already purchased. We have no choice but to okay them. They've already
I
been
agree
purchased.
with that.
The
but-
people raised a lot of money, yada, yada, yada. And then they realized that they had to have our approval. This field is a special field. It has other rules about it, other than just HDC stuff. And those dugouts went up, at least at the Main Street end, no permission from the HDC whatsoever. And they need to realize that it's within the Historic District Commission and we've got to okay stuff.
Mhm.
And we seem like we're bad if we don't okay things for the Little League.
So Joe, put on your open meeting law hat. Tell me, what do you think is the best way to give Tim the approval he needs to start installing these?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really suggest a motion, to be honest with you. Just, I would say if you're really want to have the subject to a site visit, I would just make sure to post the meeting. And if you're gonna have a quorum there, and especially if there's gonna be a vote taken. If there's any kind of contingencies, and you want to meet in person, I would just highly, I would recommend posting the agenda.
Yeah, but if we don't get a quorum at the site visit.
Yeah.
Then where are we?
You would have to either repost or, unfortunately, if you want to vote, you would have to have a quorum. Yeah. You'd have to cancel the meeting.
To the extent it's valuable or even binding, I do understand that, but I won't authorize install, even if you all vote to approve the installation of the scoreboard. I will not put them in without folks coming and whether it's formal or informal, taking a look and working together to make it the most optimal spot. I mean, Ms. Wood, I mean, you are an abutter, and I think someone that really should have a say and, be able to take a look and be as happy as you can be with the position of these scoreboards. And it would not be not personally in my interest or in Little League's interest to make you guys mad and do something that you don't want. So I'm very happy to even unofficially say, if you approve this tonight, I'm not putting anything in until you guys get down there and we're satisfied that we have a good spot.
When do you need to have these installed?
So we can do things in phases. We need, ideally, right? It's not the end of the world, but we need the one we're looking at now installed probably before around March 20th. And then the other one at Black could be a little bit later. We also have two others at Patton Park that are going to be installed, so we can work on those first. So we do have some flexibility in the state for these things, but it's coming up. As soon as the ground starts to thaw, we have to start making arrangements with the contractors to get on their schedule and get them out. And that's the biggest wild card, is getting on their schedules.
Okay. I don't think they're going to be in my direct sight, but I'm feeling sorry for the neighbor who was so upset. Nothing
Well,
he can really do.
all things being equal, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this application, recognizing that the Mr. Fazio would do his best to accommodate abutters. We've let other people some degree of flexibility in, for example, the place down where Grassy Roots was, that we just was in the minutes. They're installing some new windows. Hopefully they'll fit in and they'll be right.
Well,
If they aren't,
those windows used to be there.
well, I know, but they've got to be replaced now.
Right.
I realize that. So what I'm trying to do is to expedite this in such a way that we accommodate the Little League as well as members of the commission, unless you want to pick a date for next week that we will get together. And in the meantime, we will take it upon ourselves to go down and look. Now, I drove through there, Tim, and I didn't see where you had flagged the places.
I put, there's 2 yellow stakes. They're very hard. They would be hard to see from the road if you didn't walk out there.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
suggest that you get something huge, a big red something or other, and tack it to a tree and put it exactly there. okay? And then we will all take it on ourselves to go down and see that. And then we can come back at another meeting and vote. Is that
The
the way?
yellow
best
stakes
way?
are gonna be good. That's good enough.
Well, as I say, I went down today.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything.
I think, Harriet, I think the reason is that it's part of the issue. They are far away. Those scoreboards are far away from the road. If you,
Okay.
you have to you have to walk out there to see them really
Well,
well.
make them so the signs
Yeah.
can be viewed from the road. Okay, because I wouldn't know where to go otherwise. So I park the car and just wander around looking for yellow stakes.
Harriet, I
No.
know where to go.
But I'm happy to escort anybody too. I'm very happy to meet up and walk over and show everybody exactly where.
Okay. Mary, is there anybody else who would really like to see where these boards are gonna be?
I would.
Who would? Oh, Kirsten, okay. Can we pick a date now? Or should we just pick a date to have a future meeting and assume that those who are interested will go by and see where they are and can then come to a meeting and say they're fine with the proposal,
That's a good idea.
okay? So, Joe, when can we have another meeting? Given posting requirements.
I'm sorry, I just want to, Secretary Tinsley has her hand up, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
yes, Catherine.
Yeah, you have a motion on the floor. You made a motion, Harriet?
Well, I don't think it was even seconded.
It was not.
Okay. So it can just die for the moment, can it not?
It can. Just making sure
Okay.
that's what you want to do. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Thank you, Catherine.
So here, Madam Chair, to answer your question, if you wanted to have the meeting, it could be even as soon as Tuesday, thinking of the holiday, if we post tomorrow, because that would give the Fridays the business day and 48 hours, depending on when on Tuesday you would go to the meeting, schedule the meeting. But, of course, it could be later next week as well, or, whatever date you want. But the earliest it could be would probably be sometime next Tuesday.
How, the rest of you for next Tuesday?
Does that give some people who might be going away for the weekend time to look and then come to the meeting? I'm not going away, but some people might be.
It's
Yeah,
school
it is the
vacation
school
week, isn't
vacation
it?
week. Yes, it is.
And Madam Chair, I'll just note, the select board is meeting next Tuesday as well, and I believe,
I know. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that.
Yeah.
Are they meeting at 6 or 6:30?
it's 6:30.
So we could have a quick meeting at 5:30 next Tuesday and take one vote on this application. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah,
Mhm.
So I just want to clarify, so then we would not be having a sort of guided group tour.
I'm sorry?
We would not be having a group visit to kind of work.
Yeah,
things-
that's what I'm saying. Let's
Because
just,
my
pretend-
concern is that we might all have different ideas about where the placement should be. And I think that's kind of hard to sort out, on a Zoom rather than on site.
If I might, and again, I'm willing to be as flexible as possible, but to the extent anybody wants to meet, I can meet first, as soon as I get my littlest on the bus tomorrow morning at 8:05, I can be down at the field by 8:15 and meet folks there before people get rolling into their day. If that helps, and just kind of bang this out so you guys can see and we can talk about it. And then to the extent we need to do, I personally like the prior suggestion that Harriet made in her motion to approve, and then, we can take a look just so we don't have to convene another meeting. But I'm willing to get down there first thing tomorrow or first thing on Friday, whatever works for folks, and make multiple trips if both folks are not available. It's not a big deal.
I could be there at 8:15 tomorrow.
good. Okay,
So if we, I don't know what the rules are for an informal meeting with no discussion.
So just two people who go. It's just an informal meeting. It's not even close to a quorum. Just an information, just checking in with Tim.
I could be there about 8:20.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
What
mean, I
about-
can also be there at 8:15, but at that point, does it become a meeting?
Right, I would just stress, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you do if you're having a quorum, there should be a 48 hour posting.
Right, so therefore, keep it to 3 people. So if Mary, Kelly, and Kirsten want to be down there tomorrow, that's fine.
It's not a meeting, it's just an observation.
Right, yep. And then next Tuesday at 5:30, we could meet and vote on the proposal, on the application. How does that sound?
Yeah, I would just note, Madam Chair, real quick, that, the select board at times has met at 5:30. I don't think that's happening next week, but just don't
Well-
quote me on it. You know what I mean?
Usually that's for an executive session
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever.
Right, right.
So I think, is Mr. Clay still on with us?
I am.
Aha. Do you think we could safely have a meeting at 5:30 tomorrow? It wouldn't interfere with you guys too much?
I mean, next
Tomorrow,
Tuesday.
tomorrow?
Tuesday.
Oh, no.
No, I'm
next-
sorry, I mean Tuesday.
Yeah, I think we can do it. You can do it,
Good.
5:30.
Okay, okay, so in other words, we don't have a motion because it wasn't seconded. We will defer action on this application right now. And we will post for Tuesday at 5:30 again on this motion, on this application. Is
And
that,
tomorrow, meet at 8:15.
Yes, we can meet at the parking lot at Blackfield, so the one right off of 1A, and we can walk from there. That's probably the easiest.
I'll be walking right through the fence.
Sounds good.
so does that seem, Tim, sufficient for now?
Yes, that's great. Thank you, Harriet. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your thoughtfulness on this, and I look forward to seeing folks tomorrow morning.
Good.
Okay,
So, thank you, Tim, and thank you, everybody, for coming to resolution on this, and we can move on with the agenda unless there's anything else anybody wants to say to Tim at this point.
I have to say, having played youth baseball, I'm really glad to see the girls getting equal signage.
Thank you. Yes, with three girl softball players, it was very important to me personally too. So it was a great thing that we could do. So, but thank you. I appreciate that. It was a large group effort. And thank you, everybody, for tonight. And I will see folks tomorrow.
okay.
Good. Okay, thank you. All right. Moving on, we don't have much else. For new business, I don't think there's any really new business, but I would like to point out and maybe we will do this at our next meeting next Tuesday. Just 2 points. One is the letter to all residents in the district. Remember, we discussed this a while ago and deferred it to give people more time to take a look at it. So let's bring that up again. We may need more time, but let's bring that up. And the second thing is, Kirsten, would you have anything on the demolition delay?
Yeah, so we had a demolition delay draft. It is actually on our commission or committee website
Yep.
page. So all the towns around us have a demolition delay already. I've been in 3 meeting in a box sessions for the master planning process, and retaining the historic feel of the town is definitely important to people. That's sort of bubbling up. So we already have language that we could use and try to push through, but my thought is that we might want to make that more part of the master planning process rather than as a one-off.
Well, can we put this off to our next meeting, and can you discuss this at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds though that the warrant is getting close to being closed.
Oh,
so
we
if-
wouldn't do it for this year.
Okay, all right, that's.
Okay.
I'm,
But-
so I'm trying to get it
Yeah.
on this year. I mean,
Right.
it exists, but we haven't really, gone into a lot of depth about, we want to tweak. the
Right. Lisa, do you have your hand up?
Sorry, what's that?
I wondered, do you have your hand up?
What?
No, I guess you didn't have anything to add.
I'm good.
Okay, good.
I'm
All
fine.
right. So, with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Kirsten, Kelly, Lisa, and
Aye.
Mary,
Yes.
and Harriet. Yes. Well, thank you all very much. And we'll
morning,
see you Tuesday. Joe, you and I will talk about the agenda.
Harriet,
Yes.
is there an HDC meeting tomorrow night?
Tomorrow is CPC. Very big, important meeting.
CPC. Oh, this is
CPC.
HDC. This is HDC. CPC tomorrow.
know
at
it's-
6:30?
Tomorrow is 6:30.
Okay. CPC, right, okay.
Right, and then next Tuesday at 5:30 for HDC, all these alphabet soup.
I know.
I know, it's a little complicated. So, all right, there's nothing else? Oh, Kelly?
No, I was about to sign off.
Oh, okay, okay.
Great. All
So,
right. Thanks all.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.